I have brought peace, freedom, and lava balls to my new empire. Anakin, lava balls? What the?
Amazed Yoda is.
I take it you're here to see the new Ashton Kutcher movie?
Quite.
The time is finally upon us. The 20th anniversary of the release of Star Wars Episode 3: Revenge of the Sith. Where we were once told the saga was now complete. This meant we'd finally see Anakin's descent into the dark side and his transformation into Darth Vader. And what better way to market a movie where your main character chokes his pregnant wife right before getting his legs chopped off and burned alive than to put fire all over the packaging? Even the Legos walk on a bed of flame. Yeah, the marketing hype for Revenge of the Sith felt colossal. Sure, plenty of fans were probably checked out due to the strong negative reaction to Phantom Menace and Attack of the Clones, but I think given that Episode 3 was meant to be the final chapter, delivering on the entire premise of the prequel trilogy, I think even the most jaded fans had to give it a shot. But if you were a kid like me, the hype was electric and inescapable, and I was all about it. You think I'm playing here? You think this is a game? I got George Lucas's son encased in a brazen bull. Don't try it. That orange flame-broiled packaging was so eye-catching that even 2 decades later, my fried brain still manages to squirt out a little bit of serotonin at the mere sight of them. For a good year or so, you couldn't miss these. I saw more lava-based products in 2005 than I ever would in my entire life. Revenge of the Sith seeped its way into everything. Breakfast, you're having Revenge of the Sith Pop-Tarts. Lunch, you're down in Revenge of the Sith Whoppers and Nuggies, washing it down with some Revenge of the Sith Mountain Dew. And by dinner, while you're getting treated for heart disease, at least you'll have your little glowing lightsaber spoons. Are you threatening me, Kellogg's cereal? Yeah, these were the little lightsaber spoons that everyone fondly remembers. I was never allowed to get one of these. This is one of the few Revenge of the Sith items I just never got. I guess my parents were like, yeah, don't put like a plastic glow thing in your mouth. But you know what? I'm an adult. I can do what I want. Now, the general complaint you'd hear with the prequels beyond, like, everything else was that since these were prequels, we kind of knew how everything would play out. But for a little smooth-brained me, I couldn't quite exactly imagine what Episode 3 would be like. Before we even got a title or any images, I wondered, would Anakin turn into the Vader we knew early on? Will Padme die? Or wait, does she go on to raise Leia on Alderaan? I don't know. How will they explain that? The Force, I guess. I can't quite remember what movie it was. It might have been SpongeBob the movie, but I remember going to my local theater and spotting that teaser poster for Revenge of the Sith, and it just melted my brain. Anakin with a red lightsaber and his cape clumsily forming Darth Vader. Yeah, the execution may have not been as smooth as Phantom Menace's teaser, but still, it was all we had. It's like the more we'd learn, the more my imagination would run wild. I remember for a time the official Star Wars website had this insane artwork of Anakin, and General Grievous was another anomaly given his debut in Clone Wars as this gargantuan killing machine. I had no clue how that was going to translate into live action. Every little glimpse and rendition of him we'd get before the movie looked so different from one another. He was on the cover of one of those scholastic Boba Fett books over a year before Revenge of the Sith came out. It drove me nuts trying to picture what his role in Episode 3 would be.
I've been waiting 15 years since Return of the Jedi came out to see the prequel.
There's no way it's going to be a disappointment.
Are there any of you that think this is going to be a lousy movie?
No! It lived up to the hype. It's very hard nowadays, especially with the internet spoiling everything. It lived up to the hype.
What's kind of unique about Revenge of the Sith is it's usually the first movie in these Star Wars trilogies that seem to get the biggest marketing push. Obviously, a Star Wars movie returning to theaters for the first time in a decade plus is going to generate levels of hype previously unseen. With Attack of the Clones, it still had a large marketing campaign, but nothing really atypical compared to the absolute stacked roster of major blockbusters from 2002. Movies like Spider-Man, Harry Potter, and Lord of the Rings kind of grabbed most of the spotlight. With Revenge of the Sith, while it didn't quite reach Phantom Menace levels of marketing hype, it was still massive, and in part due to the fact that it wasn't just about Episode 3, but rather it felt like a celebration of the saga as a whole. You had things like the Burger King toys with those little big heads incorporating some original trilogy characters in the roster, and that was so cool. You try to work Burger King into every conversation to get your mommy to take you.
I sense a plot to
get a Burger King kids meal. A lot of the marketing played off the dark side or the transformation into becoming Darth Vader. The first Revenge of the Sith action figure I ever got was this exact one right here. I still have it. It's Anakin, but you can switch his lightsaber out for a red one, which didn't happen in the movie, by the way. I guess that was meant to be Count Dooku's lightsaber or something. Which, yes, they later actually did revise this action figure to now have Count Dooku's saber, curved for her canonical pleasure. But I remember my favorite action figure, hands down, of the Revenge of the Sith line was the one where you rebuild Darth Vader. To me, this was like the peak of what a Star Wars toy could be. You got all his little pieces, you got his little Darth Vader looking ass head, and yeah, you get to mask Vader and ensure the transformation was complete. I'd always like put him around a stack of random VHS tapes, I don't know, maybe to give it like a Star Wars background look. And now, all these years later, I can finally introduce Fog. Hit it! Yay. 8-year-old me would be so proud. And it wasn't just about Anakin becoming Vader. No, you could become Vader yourself, thanks to the Darth Vader voice-changing helmet.
Greetings, faithful viewer.
Oh wow, did you guys feel it? I really felt something there. That made me want to go, kill younglings. This one came with 3 modes, whoa. You got a button for the Vader breathing. One for voice lines. And then the actual voice changer itself, it's pretty underwhelming. It just kind of adds a bit of an echo.
Buzz Lightyear, I am your father.
No! But still, this is one of those things that was always fun to mess around with on store shelves. I think what was really cool about it, as someone who usually got those cheap Vader costumes as a kid with those flat 2D masks, this was a full Vader helmet and a pretty good one. No, unless it was actually Halloween, probably not much mileage you'd get out of this one. Nah, what I really wanted were the games. As you know, 2005 was an insane year for Star Wars titles. Not only did you have Republic Commando, but a whole 6 weeks before Revenge of the Sith released, we got LEGO Star Wars, which covered the entire prequel trilogy in LEGO. I couldn't believe it. It seemed like some sort of trick. You telling me I could play through all of Revenge of the Sith if I just walked through that door right there? Hell no, I won't do it. I had to practice patience.
Patience.
I didn't want to spoil all of episode 3 with just a mere weeks away. Which, you know, was already pretty difficult given how the marketing did everything in its power to do that for you. No! Like the commercials and ads spliced together could probably give you a decent cut of the movie. But you also had Revenge of the Sith, the game, which I've already covered, releasing another 2 weeks before the movie. So you can get like a whole ass LEGO version and an edgy PS2 rendition of Revenge of the Sith long before you'd see it in theaters.
Star Wars Episode 3, Revenge of the Sith, the video game. Before you see the movie, live it.
Like, you can get an entire alternate ending here if you wanted to. And not only that, you had multiple versions. The DS and GBA version are largely the same, being this vibrant throwback beat 'em up with some really eye-catching animations. They did a really good job translating the essence of the console game in here, while still making it feel unique and not like a total downgrade. And the DS version does have these pretty cool Starfighter levels as an added bonus. Just so many ways you could spoil Revenge of the Sith for yourself. I guess the idea was, hey, we all know what's gonna happen anyway, basically, right? So you might as well enjoy it. You know, unless you were a GameCube owner, then you just got screwed. Because not only did you not get the Revenge of the Sith game, LEGO Star Wars 1's GameCube port for some reason didn't come out until October. Why? Yo, by the way, anybody remember Revenge of the Brick? This was a little weird 3D animated LEGO short that premiered on Cartoon Network where all the characters' faces looked like a fleshy demonic nightmare. You just know you'd contract some rare disease if one of these guys managed to bite you in the middle of the night. This was another pre-release piece of Revenge of the Sith media I made sure to sit my ass down for, because not only did I think it would give me a sneak peek into just what episode 3 might entail, but also I just thought it was really cool. The little gags and action set pieces were fun. There's something about that surprisingly detailed but lower budget 3D animated look that I enjoy, and I do think it's kind of neat to see a rendition of LEGO Star Wars before it became that uniform style we're all used to. One neat thing is this one was actually co-directed by Luke Skywalker himself.
Hi, I'm Mark Hamill. I hope you enjoyed watching our mini movie. Now I say our because I worked behind the scenes on this project with Treehouse Animation. As the original Luke Skywalker, I think I know something about making Star Wars movies, so the fit with Treehouse made perfect sense.
Mark Hamill being involved in a 4-minute LEGO short is such a strange fragment of Star Wars history, and seeing this while playing the actual LEGO Star Wars game, which looked nothing like this, made for such a weird mix. But let's say if you didn't own any game consoles, you could resort to plug-and-play games, like the Star Wars Lightsaber Duel game by Tiger Electronics. This one came out about a month before the movie, where you play all these iconic duels with some motion controls long before the Nintendo Wii. Pretty impressive, and I sense I will be talking about this one very, very soon. This one was apparently $60, pretty pricey for a plug-and-play game in 2005. Most of us likely instead went for the iconic Revenge of the Sith plug-and-play game. I just love that Darth Vader controller design, the way you have his little panel of buttons for the on switch. Most of us probably had this one. There were other variants later on. I did have the R2 one at a time, but I never saw that Yoda or Grievous one anywhere ever. The games here are all Episode 3 centric. You had the gunship battle. This was probably my favorite. I spent a stupid amount of hours on this one. It's crazy how these little pixels used to feel like... The goal here is you're supposed to pick up these little clone trooper sprites and get a few of them to infiltrate the droid base. But I used to just like drop them off in front of a bunch of droids and watch them battle over and over again. I just loved it. Second most played was probably Coruscant Attack. You pilot your Jedi Starfighter in the Battle of Coruscant, taking down endless waves of those Sith scum, shooting down filthy buzz droids. Then you got Grievous Onslaught, where you're now on foot as Anakin trying to rescue the Chancellor. This was probably my least favorite one, probably because I was the worst at it. One hit and you're dead, and truthfully, I really don't want to save you, old man. You're acting kind of sus right now. Do it, 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 do it. Do it, do it, do it, do it, do it. You save him, and then they just move him into a different castle, and it goes on and on. And that's sort of the thing, I couldn't quite cope with the fact that these were endless arcade-type games. Like, I thought, just maybe, what if something changes next level? What if I turn this off right before we finally reach something different? A trauma response of some sort, perhaps? Like, this Boga game is pretty fun, and it's probably the easiest of the bunch. You have this OP tail whip, battle-ready armor, and multi-directional lasers. It goes on and on to a point where a lot of times I just have to let Boga die so I can set on a high score before my brain turned to goo. Same thing with Droid Invasion, your Obi-Wan fighting off a grid of battle droids, trying to deflect and ricochet lasers before they reach you. I was also never too good at this one anyway, but the fact that I could get to the next level and it would change to Geonosis or Mustafar made me wonder what just might be waiting ahead. Oh, and also Jack Specific later introduced these things called a game key. This was meant to be an expansion pack giving you new games to play. That's right, Star Wars Plug and Play DLC. If you had the first wave of these controllers though, you were Sith out of luck, as these didn't include any expansion port. But even when I did get a later model that had one, I could never find these game keys being sold anywhere. Trust me, I would scour the shelves trying to find one. I guess maybe they weren't common or only came in these pretty rare bundles like this one, I don't know. So finally, for the first time, I'm gonna be able to check these games out. We get two new games, first being Turret Defense, where you're taking down waves of vulture droids and gunships. Aiming with the analog stick feels real smooth here. Visually too, it feels like a decent step up from the original 5 games. It just feels like they had more to go off of in terms of adapting elements from Revenge of the Sith. Like, it's kind of surreal to see not only a new game type here after all these years, but also levels that take place on planets like Felucia and Megiddo. The other game is Yoda's Escape. This is probably the most surprising game of the bunch, just given that this one kind of ditches the typical arcadey approach for a side-scroller. And since you're playing as Yoda, he feels appropriately powerful, with his jump being an attack that deflects lasers. You got this massive force push. Like, it's kind of refreshing to see a mode like this that's a little more fleshed out and conventional in terms of level design. It's just kind of a shame very few probably got to ever play it. The games didn't even just stop there. You also had the Hasbro Flash games, where they'd bring the action figures to life. You had SceneBot. I wasted dozens of hours here where you can just paste Star Wars action figures onto different backgrounds with endless amounts of storytelling potential. Anakin, why do you have a red lightsaber? Foolish Jedi. Soon they will be no match for my new army. Arise, my faithfuls. Uber the entire galaxy at my command.
Sir, we're pinned down. This might be it, men.
Hold me. Hold me like you did by the lake of Naboo.
It's your boy, Burger King.
Another game they had was Anakin vs. Obi-Wan Duel Blades of Light. And even now, I'm just so enamored with the posing of these figures and how they animated them to life. As a kid, it got me really interested into wanting to do that myself. I wanted more. Like, I would have loved the whole robot chicken-ass game that was just you controlling all these different Star Wars action figures like this. But when it came to recreating scenes from the movie, the ultimate Hasbro release had to be the Mustafar Duel Set. Yeah, that's right, it's the whole-ass volcano featuring lava balls, and more lava. This shit was really expensive, but was it worth it? Does that answer your question?
It's over, Anakin! I have
Lava balls.
You underestimate my power.
When Revenge of the Sith finally did come out, when I finally saw it in theaters, it was dizzying for my feeble mind. This movie felt like it was moving at 1,000,000 miles a minute, but I'll still never forget seeing that final binary sunset before having to wake up my dad who slept through the entire thing. And like, that wasn't even the end of it, really. Revenge of the Sith now giving us a complete framing of the prequel trilogy allowed for endless Star Wars merch combining the two trilogies. Later that year, Battlefront 2 dropped to coincide with a DVD release, and that was just filled with Revenge of the Sith era content. I'll always remember Episode 3 as one of my most hype releases, where that build-up went far beyond the films. It's crazy to think that 20 years have passed since then, about the actual in-universe time between Episode 3 and 4. I always thought that was such a short window given how much would change between the prequels and the original trilogy. Now that I've seen it with my own tired eyes, I get it, man. I've seen Revenge of the Sith countless times at this point. I even got the VHS for God's sakes, but is that gonna stop me from watching in theaters again? No. In the meantime, I'll be here with my plug-and-play games, lava balls, and George Lucas's son, trapped in his little flame-broiled plastic chrysalis.